Excellent. And once again, welcome back to the show. This is a Dr. Show, and we have today Gina, and Gina is a champion of saving our homes in California. And Gina, thanks for joining again.
Thank you.
Tell us about um, what are your apart from the while the campaign is going, and there's all methodologies that are being employed to get the message out. Are you planning to, is there any plan to use any advertisement in the papers, YouTube, and so forth?
So we've got two YouTube channels and one TikTok channel. And we believe, I keep telling our volunteers that social media is the least expensive, most expansive way of educating. So we are utilizing that. We have multiple articles. We've got 4 articles called The Tax Revolt is Back. And we are asking people to use that and try to get it in their local papers. If any of you got to see the movie Stripped for Parts, it's amazing because they said that our local media has been destroyed. And so we have less educated, less aware voters because the papers have gone away. It's unbelievable because they always want you to go digital. They want you to go electronic version. But the reality is it's the papers that remind us of what we need to do, of what we should read. And if you look at the websites, there's 2 billion websites globally. How are they going to find your one website? I tell people, unless you are pulling them in, it's very difficult to find one website out of 2 billion in the world. So we are asking people go to the for Californians with an S.com website, forcalifornians.com. And on it, under resources, we've got our tax revolt articles, 100 words, 250 words, 500 words, 750 words. If you want to modify it and get it to your local paper, that's great. If you want to do a letter to the editor, like one of the mayors, I think it was Foster City, wrote the letter to the editor, basically telling Congressman Kevin Mullen, who is the author, to fix this because he's ruined California. So we need people to get these articles out. We also have a campaign, which I'm calling the Dear campaign, and it's Dear business owner, dear employee, dear tenant, dear child, dear neighbor, how Prop 19 will affect you. Because like I said before, no individual, no entity is going to be untouched by 2020 Proposition 19. It's literally going to ruin California if we don't stop this, if our electeds don't stop this. And right now is the time to write to your legislator and ask them to draft a constitutional amendment. They can fix all of this if they wanted to. And now's when they're determining what their legislative packages are going to be for November. So this is the time to reach out if you have not already.
Yes, I will be contacting my state representative sometime this week to keep it going because this is basically the craziness about this is that if this is allowed to continue, pretty soon everybody is going to become homeless and totally dependent. I know it's like it's going to be back to some form of communist nightmare where people don't own their own property. They're basically serfs of the state. So that's why it's important to have that fight. Now, how about what are some of the you mentioned you have TikTok and YouTube.
Yes.
Are you also on Facebook?
Yes, we have started to do Facebook Reels. And, that's the thing, right? Is we need the younger generation to help us. So one of our TikTok videos got over 60,000 views.
Mhm.
So we need the younger generation to write in to create these videos because social media, it's interesting, in order to do these videos, They basically want you to do 3 a day at least. And most people prepare with about 10 of them so they know which one they're going to release. And it's a full-time affair just to be an influencer.
Yeah.
And we have reached out to influencers knowing that, you know what, learning how to be an influencer is, it's a job in itself. And all of the influencers we've reached out to have gotten it wrong, which is sad because they haven't pointed people to forcalifornians.com. They don't know the campaign is running, even though we tell them the campaign is running. And I don't know if they're just looking for disaster and liking disaster and liking to announce it to get their hits. But we really need to get the word out because it's the younger generations that are going to suffer. Because homelessness, what do we pay for homelessness? Each unhoused individual, we spend $160,000 a year. That's how it equated to those billions of dollars that you mentioned earlier. So if we left these people in their homes, because 66% of households are childless, it would have been cheaper to keep them in their home than to force them out, let them outlive their assets, and then go on public reliance.
That's a very good point that you brought up because like for example, in San Francisco alone, there's like 1.5 billion per year in all these homeless programs. For example, the shelters. People are talking about shelter beds, but to me, shelters is another scam because you're spending millions of dollars on putting somebody up in a shelter for a few months and then you have to go back on the street. I might say that why not just take the money and build some housing and be done with the crime all once and for all. But as we always say, government just like to waste people's money, and that's why the fight to end um, the death tax is so relevant in this time. Are there any politicians that are planning to join that have signed on to help us in this to help you in this campaign?
So we do have some champions for our campaign. So for instance, there is Senator Ciarto, who drafted SCA 4 to reverse parts of Proposition 19. We've had Senator Roger Niello, who basically, has come on our show in support. Senator Blakespear had been on the SCA 4 hearing, and she said she believes that this should be kicked back to the voters. There was misunderstanding, misrepresentation. Those are champions. But like Senator Ciarto and Niello have told us, you need a Democrat to push this forward. Kevin Kiley had drafted, I think it was AB 9, and unfortunately was dead at the printer. Senator Patty Bates had drafted SB 668, I think it was, and McGuire said he was going to help her, and then nothing happened from it. So I think it's kind of like we do need the Democrats to help us on this. And so, this is nonpartisan. I tell people you can vote blue and still want to keep your home too, and we need everyone to step up and fight this fight. It's us against the electeds that don't want generational wealth,
Yeah,
that want to replace it with generational poverty.
exactly. It's interesting that a lot of the people who are pushing this, they're connected to very far left organizations who don't believe in private property. And so all these things just to squeeze and squeeze and squeeze until people are forced to the home and they're forced into the dependency. And so that's a big fight we should have. Have you done any, do you plan to do any interviews on any on other media platforms?
So I'm open to doing speaking engagements, media platforms. In fact, next Tuesday, we have an event with Dr. Rosie at 10 in the morning on Tuesday morning. So join us for that as well. In the past, I've appeared on Game Changer Silicon Valley with Jim Connor. And, we're open to getting out there and getting the word out. I do need more speakers because from time to time, people will say, hey, do you have a speaker to present in Southern California? And I'm a mom, I'm a business owner. So I'm not as easy to fly across the state in a moment's notice. I will if we have to, if it's going to help push the campaign forward. But if we can get speakers, like I'm asking the taxpayers associations across the state to give us speakers. I'm asking the chambers of commerce across the state to give us speakers because, as I mentioned, businesses are not untouched by this.
And to wrap this, going forward, you mentioned the Chamber of Commerce. Have they been helping you on this matter?
So we've reached out to some chambers of commerce and they've been looking into it. We haven't gotten commitments yet. But as I mentioned, the fast food industry is decimated by that less than $4 increase. The businesses, that are members of the chambers of commerce, they should all be aware of what's coming down in the future for them. If their employees can't afford to stay, what's going to happen? Then the employers will have to find ways to make things happen, whether it's through automation or whether it's through elimination of jobs or leaving California, which we don't want. Because, like you said, we need the employer to employ people. And even if the employer's not paying taxes, the employees are.
Yes, correct. So, what's your hope for the future?
Well, my hope for the future is that we get fix Prop 19 to save our children's future and reclaim voters' rights on the ballot. And we win it at the ballot. And then if we're able to win it at the ballot, I would like to go back and see if we could get resolutions at local agencies, the council members, boards of supervisors. And for those people that have been harmed by Prop 19, we call them F19, I would like to get resolutions where those individuals receive certificates of preference to low-income housing, because we can never, ever give these people back the generational wealth that they lost. We can never return the homes that they lost the memories in. But at least if they outlive their assets, I think they deserve to be taken care of, by those that put these laws in place. And hopefully, they will get housing until, they don't need it anymore. That's my goal.
And I'm very thankful for your leadership in this matter and for leading the fight to save our homes and save our children in California and to save us from this madness of this perpetual government waste and just keep taking into turning into zombies of surf. So once again, thank you for taking the time to join us today. And I will be posting this interview widely on all the platforms, TikTok, YouTube, and so Facebook, because this is a moment where we can change the future for the better and basically to stop the madness. Once again, thank you, Gina, for taking the time to join us today. And this is the Dr. Sophie Rothschild Show. And ladies and gentlemen, bye for now.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Rabbi.
Yes, thank you.